Market data is out. We'll be talking about the latest Big Island market update coming up next. Hey, what's going on, friends? Big Island market update time. We're going to start taking a look at the data from the housing, condo, and land market for the Big Island. So we'll jump right in. Looking first at the Big Island data for the residential market. So these are homes, and as we've been seeing the last couple of months, pretty similar trend. Volumes obviously down because the number of sales are down, and we've been seeing that decline. We're even down from last month. So last month there was 205, there was 259 residential sales a year ago, and we're down to 183. But as we've been seeing, the median price has not fallen from a year ago. So it's still above a year ago. It is down from last month. So we'll see if that trend continues. We may have kind of hit the peak on median price and things are cooling off. But versus a year ago, median price is still up. And final listed sold price kind of holding steady, lower than a year ago, 95% a year ago, but 93% this year. And it was about the same as it was the previous month. So pretty similar, stable stuff on the housing market that we've been seeing the last couple of months. Getting into the condo market, this is a much bigger drop, right? Only 39 sales on the condo market versus 76 a year ago and 51 the previous month. So the condo market has slowed pretty dramatically in terms of the number of sales. And this is, we're also seeing for the first time, the median price is lower this month than it was a year ago. So it's $555 a year ago and $510 this month. And the previous month it was still up at $640. So that's a interesting stat there to see if that continues. And then final list of sold price, very similar to what we've been seeing, still at a 99% final list of sold price. It was at over 100% a year ago. So on the price that condos are selling for is still pretty much at 100% on average across the board, and that was higher than the previous month. As we get into the land market, same kind of trend here, where about the same number of sales as the previous month, but definitely lower than a year ago, about 50 sales lower. And median price also still higher than the previous month and higher from a year ago. So the median price on land sales is not going down, but we did see a big drop in the final list of sold price. So we saw that a year ago it was almost at 88%, it's 96% the previous month, and then 82% this year. So definitely a fall off there, and looks like there's a lot more room to negotiate in land contracts than there are definitely in the housing or condo market. I added this piece of data from the previous month, and I try to make it a little bit bigger so it's a little bit easier to see. But just looking back and putting everything into context on what the sales right now are doing versus not just last year, the year before that, but back to 2019. Because if we're going back to somewhat of a normal market, we should see the same kind of level of number of sales every month. And although we're seeing much fewer sales than a year ago, obviously that was the height of the market last year. And we're seeing that, very interestingly, in 2019 there was 405 sales across the Big Island. There is 406 this October. So almost exact. If we looked at last month, there was still a much higher number of sales than there were back in 2019. And it was pretty similar in August, about the same number of sales. So the number of sales, although look, it's dramatically fallen from a year ago, is kind of back to where it was in 2019, which is a very normal, stable market. So we'll see if that trend continues, but that's definitely a piece of context that I like to add into this discussion, because if we just compare from a year ago, it can seem very dramatic. But if we look further back in time, it's somewhat of just us going back to a normal market. And then this slide I always like, looking at the inventory versus under contract is a good piece of information to kind of understand where we're at with inventory. And although there is a dramatic change in the number of homes that are under contract versus a year ago, the number of listings is still under 2,000. We haven't seen that number kind of peak above 2,000. It's higher than it was a year ago, but still very low in historical context. We're usually above 3,000 if you look previous to 2020 on the number of active listings that are on the market. And we're still at 3.5 months of inventory, which is definitely technically still a seller's market. So it's still below that kind of 6-month balanced market. So still very low inventory. And that's going to continue to drive the activity. And the price is, even though there is less buyer demand, the buyer demand is still stronger than the amount of homes that are coming on the market, and that'll sustain strong prices going forward. And we just saw, last week that interest rates fell 0.75%. And so interest rates may have stabilized and potentially could be coming back down, which will continue to drive buyer demand. So interesting stuff going on in the market. If you have any questions, you can always email me at dylan@buybigisland.com, or put your comments in the comments below. Love to have a discussion with you. And I'll see you guys next month, next month's market report. Aloha.